A government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller, right, that we applauded, and we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost, and the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
All right, guys, StephenASmith walked off stage to make a point about the government shutdown. So let's get into it and let's discuss it.
You going to say something? I just want to say, there it is. I'm trying to be very respectful to everybody because they deserve it. Why? Let me say that. No, because you deserve it. But let me say this. I don't think Washington understands how ticked off we truly are. Think about the conversation that we're having right now. You brought up the single-payer system, emulating Canada. You know, we're looking at a president that just gave $20 billion to Argentina. We're hearing about or witnessing what I consider to be a retribution tour. And even though to some degree I don't blame him because of how people went after him, still it appears to be counterproductive. We're listening to this kind of stuff while a young man walked up to the microphone and said that he had to leave here to go and work on DoorDash to help pay for his daughter's tuition. Meanwhile, everybody up here getting paid. But he ain't. This is this kind of stuff right here. That's how you know, and I'm not accusing any of you directly or personally of feeling this way. I'm just talking about the apparatus that is Washington, the nation's capital. This is why you have so many Americans, excuse my language, so pissed off at Washington, because somehow, some way you get to have these conversations.
He's absolutely right in this situation regarding, Washington, these politicians and everyone continues getting their checks while a government shutdown really affects the people that actually probably need those checks way more. He's absolutely right here. I agree 100%.
Engage in specific elements of it to talk about what we need to do to get things better. Our debt is $37.8 trillion. Somehow, some way, the taxpayers been paying this, been throwing money, because we all look at our check, and it's been going to the government. And somehow, some way, you're supposed to be doing something constructive and productive enough to make sure that we don't have that kind of deficit. It isn't happening. A government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller that we applauded. And we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost, and the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
What's up, everyone? You watch it on air, Nick Java podcast here on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Ring that notification bell, and you'll be notified of my upcoming video releases. Guys, StephenASmith is absolutely right in this situation. A lot of us as Americans were sick and tired of actually having all these politicians that are in Washington, D.C., making all of these decisions, holding up the government, keeping money flowing to federal employees when God knows they need the money the most out of everyone. Out of everyone in Washington, D.C., the federal people that are actually working and making clean money, just like that man that was an air traffic controller. Okay. Just like, anyone that is working in federal government, they need to have their money paid to them because, they have actual bills and they depend on this money regularly. So when you look at this situation, StephenASmith's absolutely right in this situation. And I love that he said that in front of these politicians. You could see how nervous a couple of them actually were when he said it, because even they know it's wrong. And guys, it doesn't matter who is in power, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. When it comes to these types of situations, we trust you, which trust is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low for government, FBI. It's at an all-time low because of what has happened since COVID. And that's why, because of how the Biden administration has handled the 2020 to 2024. How they handled all of this stuff, how they were taking, money from FEMA, giving it to illegal immigrants for healthcare, how they were lying about the Hunter Biden laptop, how they were silencing conservative podcasters and people who had any sort of opposing viewpoint to them. They ran a totalitarian, they were trying to be a totalitarian, authoritarian government entity under the Biden administration. We dodged a bullet when Kamala Harris did not get elected.
We dodged a bullet.
And, looking at the things that StephenASmith said here, I love it. How does someone go in, not the government, but how does someone go into politics and they are making a basic salary, okay, and they leave with $20 to $25 million because they're insider trading? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. I want you guys to check out this next clip from this same panel. And, and it talks a little bit about how StephenASmith is viewing how these partisan biases, and I wouldn't even call it journalism, because CNN, I don't even call that journalism anymore. There might be a show or two on there that's okay, but how it's actually damaging the country.
That I would say is this: you can understand the why. Bill's absolutely right. But the times that we're living in, those past presidents, you talk about the advent of social media, the reach that you can have as a candidate, as an elected official, the way that decisions, perspectives can be disseminated to a point where it can influence so many lives and cause a fervor. That's different than it was in the past. And when Bill brings up the media, he's absolutely right from this perspective. There's absolutely positively no excuse for a member of the media, I'm talking about a journalist, to take a side. The facts are the facts. Like, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not the biggest fan of how he behaves. But the fact is that if he's done a good job, give him credit for doing a good job. If he's done a good job here, fine. If he hasn't done a good job there, fine. Call it as you see it, because you have to make sure that the public at large is able to look at you and say that I trust that you believe what you're saying you believe, and that it's based on factual information and not your personal feelings or personal animus. And when you do that, then you galvanize the American people, because they're going to say, okay, I can trust you. And as a result, there won't be a dissipation or a diminished level of trust in the media. What has happened to the media is that, unfortunately, too many people are looking to say things just to be saying things, just to have a particular side, because it gets them paid. Well, guess what?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's absolutely right in this situation. And I'll tell you something that I'm actually witnessing at a local level. At a local level, I'm covering the Zebulon, North Carolina commissioner and mayoral race. And what I'm seeing on this side is I'm seeing one particular party that's running that are actually focused in on policies and procedures and how to change things. And then what I'm seeing on the other side is them just calling them names, them just calling them, racists and stuff like that. So it's supposed to be a nonpartisan race in Zebulon, but it's not. It's everything is seeped into every facet of society when it comes to these types of things, because different people have different ideologies. And the crazy thing to me is, if it's seeped that far down the food chain, I can only imagine how crazy Washington, D.C. actually is.
But it's damaging to the country. And I think that you have an obligation to think about the country more than you're thinking about just yourself when you are a member of the media, or you have the kind of influence that media is supposed to have. That level of sensitivity is required for any conscientious soul that has the interests of the American people ahead of themselves.
You guys let me know in the comments what you actually think about this video. StephenASmith, I think, made a great point when he said, I'm going to take a break from this, because you know what? You guys are getting paid, while this man out in the crowd is not getting paid, and he has to work DoorDash, but he's an air traffic controller. What? I don't understand how they cannot pull, just pass a clean CR and just be going on with it, man, and then figure this out as we're going. Democrats have added a load of things that were not in the original bill, and we covered that on the last video. You guys check that out at the end of this video. It's the Mike Johnson video. And I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful day. You watch it on there on Nick Java podcast. You guys, I'll see you on the next one. What's up, guys? If you guys have hung around this long, please consider becoming a member of the Nick Driver channel here on YouTube. It's only $1.99 a month. All members have direct access to my email to send me videos that I actually can check out and put out on the members only section. You guys do not have to do that. I appreciate you guys just hanging out with me every day and commenting. But if you feel like it's something you can do, I also have t-shirts for sale underneath these videos. Every dollar helps me keep the lights on here and keep this channel moving forward. Hope you guys have a blessed day.